really tough game and disappointing, however you want to term it. But, I go back to post-game, and still today I go back to the, the 2 interceptions, and not just the interceptions, the return of the interceptions. One of them to the 19 and the other one for a touchdown. The muff punt, not just a muff punt, but a muff a punt, and they get it on the +6, and then the onside kick. So that's 28 points, and I think mistakes like that, and when you go into a place like Georgia Southern, they don't lose many games there, obviously, but you have to make less mistakes. I thought our kids played hard, but you have to make less mistakes than they do, and we certainly didn't do that, and that put us behind the 8 ball for sure. Defensively, probably before the game, if you just said, hey, they're going to have 325 yards and, in 62 plays and punted 6 times, I thought that was pretty good. We did some things. Somebody pointed out, well, we didn't force any turnovers. Well, they did fumble it twice, and it bounced straight back up to them twice. So it did hit the ground a couple times, but I thought defensively we really did a pretty good job on some stuff. And so kind of proud of that effort. Like I said, offensively, the 2 turnovers certainly didn't help us. The fact that we didn't run the ball as effectively probably as we needed to, didn't have first down success really on hardly any play, and that really to me led to the 2 of 13 on third down conversions. Like I said, special teams, the muff punt, but all in all, we got behind, which is not a good recipe there. However, we did battle back. We battled back several times. I thought battle back again in the second half to possibly have a chance, and then we'd make another mistake. So give Georgia Southern credit. We didn't do what we needed to do to win, and thus we certainly didn't. But on to Coastal Carolina, really impressed with what they're doing and what Coach Chadwell's been able to do. Very, very competitive, really, in every game. When you look at it, just this last week, 28-27, in Jonesboro, which is another tough place to win. So give them credit, give Arkansas State credit. They drove the length of the field, scored with less than a minute left in the game to win. So, but it's a game that Coastal really did very good. Starting with their offense, 1,900 yards rushing, 2,000 yards passing. That's about as good a balance, I think, on the year as you can possibly get. I've never seen a team, and just to be honest with you, college, high school, anything that runs as many things as they run. It's incredible, and the way they execute it and they do it. I mean, this is a team that you pretty much can combine all the teams that we played, and they have some element of it in it. They have the triple option, exactly like, a lot. It's pretty similar to what we saw with Georgia Southern. They have all the play action passes off of it. They can get in traditional sets. I say traditional now. 11 personnel, that's traditional now. In 10 personnel sets and do those types of things. They have a power run game. I don't know. I mean, you name it, they do it. And they do it pretty well. They're also playing 2 quarterbacks right now, which, Peyton comes in. He's predominantly seem like they like to throw it when he's in there. He can run the ball. Carpenter, they tend to get more to the Georgia Southern type of looks with the load options and him on the perimeter and doing different types of things. And last week against Arkansas State, they played them both. I remember watching them on TV in the Lafayette game. Peyton only played after the game had gotten out of hand. If you go back and watch them in the beginning of the season, it was Peyton with Carpenter as the backup. Peyton got hurt, Carpenter's in, but now Peyton's back. So they played them both last week and did really good. I think Marable's a really good player. They're going to try to get him the football. He's a really good back. He reminds me a lot of Minner. When you look at him, he can do a lot of different things. He has 792 yards rushing on the season, but he also has 32 catches. So he's going to get the football. Really good football player. And number 6 is having he's a new guy for us this year in terms of who we scouted last year and stuff, but he has 44 catches, number 6 does, this year. So he's having a really good season. I think the biggest change and the biggest improvement of their football team is their defense this year as compared to the last several years. They're 3rd overall in the Sun Belt this year. They're 3rd against the pass. They're 4th against the rush. to me, what we're concerned with on our offensive staff is their front guys. They have several guys up front that are having really good years that are very, very disruptive. Number 9, Jackson, has 8 tackles for loss and 6 sacks. Number 52, Brewer, has 7 tackles for loss and 3 sacks. As a team, so far this year, 56 tackles for loss, 7 sacks, and 9 interceptions. So they're creating some negative plays. They're creating some turnovers, certainly on defense. And special teams wise, the area that concerns us is they're second in the conference in actual punt return average. So we'll have to be certainly on our toes there. But it's a big game for us. It's a big game for them, I know, and it's an opportunity for us to host another conference game here. It's also senior night, and so we're going to honor 19 seniors this week at senior night. And the other thing too that I'm proud of those kids, really, when you look at it, we have 11 guys that are fifth-year seniors. That means when I came in with our staff, they were redshirt freshmen. And they're all going to graduate. They've all got their degrees. Had 2 more that have left within the last year that got their degree as well. So those were guys that, I guess could have left or, but anyway, they stayed when you look at it. And I'm proud of them for doing that. Proud of them for staying here and staying with it and having the opportunity to earn their degree. So we'll honor them as well this Saturday night. Any questions? Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, you're right. It is a big game. It's a big game for both of you, and this is one. These last 2, you're going to have both of them to reset goal bowl eligibility you guys had going into the season. Is that something you've been talking to players about?
Really, what we talked about yesterday. I mean, I think they understand that, but it's just the focus has just been, we got to try to figure out a way, come out of the game. It's very, very disappointing. I think we had really, really high hopes for the game going in. Had a great week of practice, and you think you got it, and it just don't work out your way and stuff. So yesterday, kind of like the loss after Arkansas State, hopefully we respond the way we did after that game. I know it's disappointing, but, you got to look ahead. And looking ahead is we got to have a really good week and, to play a team that, I know is going to come in and ready to play in terms of what they're doing. So that was the main focus yesterday. I don't know what could happen or might happen or whatever. I haven't even looked at any of that stuff. So, but I know that none of it's attainable if we don't win this week. So that's the main focus of what we're trying to do.
Talking about the seniors, you bring it up, the 11 guys that were redshirt freshmen when you got here. That's rare to see, that many stay around. And how were you able to, kind of create that trust and get them to buy into what you were doing? Because like I said, you didn't recruit them, and, there were guys that, were here waiting for you when you got here.
Well, I think that, like I said, I'm not saying that what we did is right or wrong or anything else, but I think it goes more to my background and taking jobs and going in. That's your players, and that's who you have and stuff. So, hopefully I did, early on made it known to them that we wanted them here. Hey, look, but we got to change a few things, and not going to ask you to be anybody from where I came from, and you don't ask me to be anybody that I'm not. But hey, we'll try to get this thing going. We'd like for you guys to stay, and I made that clear from the get-go and stuff. But when you look at it, and what I always looked at, and when I take a job and I come in, and when I sign my name on the dotted line to be the head coach at ULM, well, they're ULM kids, and stuff. So that's the way I've always looked at it. And for them to stay, I think is rare and probably a little bit different. And the philosophy of a coach, like I said, I'm not saying I'm right, but the philosophy of a coach to come in and embrace and want the kids to stay, and I said, and you hear the comments all the time, and we need our kids. Well, when I signed my name on the dotted line, they became my kids. That's the way I look at it. That's the way I've always looked at it. And a lot of it too, I guess, comes from my prior background, coming from high school and coming up. That's who you got. You better figure out a way to get it done. Because that's your guys. And so that's the way I've always looked at it, I guess, in a sense. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong or anything else. I'm just saying. So I think give them a lot of credit for doing it, but I think that I made it pretty clear, and I think everybody understood what we were doing as a staff when they came in. You know, we're trying to do what we can to keep them, and you know, but you know, making them also understand that we have to make some changes because, you know, not that what we're going to do is better or worse or anything else, is because, hey, look, we need to make some changes, you know, because of who we are and what we want to try to accomplish. And I said, I'm proud of them for staying. I really am. Told them that again yesterday, that proud of them for hanging in there and sticking with it. And, you know, but we also have a couple guys, too, that, you know, with Caleb Evans, I know, is one. I don't have the list in front of me. Logan Latin is one. You know, those are guys that came in when we signed them immediately, too. So, you know, so we do have some guys that have been here a little while. And, you know, so I'm proud of them for doing that.
Brandy is week to week in this week.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best I can do. You know, it gets better and then gets, you know, and it's just one of those things that I think playing the position he plays. And, you know, he did get out last week and do some stuff. And I was saying it, I think last week, you and I were talking about it, Adam. I mean, it really wasn't the week, you know, in the cold. And you get out there on that, you know, on that hard field. And that's not really, it's not great for ankles, I guess, and trying to get it back and get the blood going back in it. But he did do some stuff last week, and I was at times I was thinking, hey, you know, this might be a possibility. And then, you know, at other times, you know, but certainly hopeful. And I know it's killing him.
You did get Ingram back though.
We did. Nick played and played good. What we chose to do with Nick, because he did it last year, we had. If you remember, we had multiple injuries last year, and so Nick ended up being the Buck safety. And, man, we thought he had a great game at Buck safety against Georgia Southern. So instead of him coming back and playing weak safety like he normally does, we played him there and let him rotate with Kilos, you know, to try to keep some fresh guys on the field. He did a good job, too.
You mentioned the different schemes and packages Coastal will run offensively. Defensively, what do you want to see change going into that game? What do you want to see the kids do on defense on Saturday?
Us?
Yeah.
You know, I think the first thing you have to do is, you know, when you see the type of stuff they do, is you better be lined up right. Because, and the other thing is, too, now, they're going to try to go fast at times, and they're going to get in all this different stuff. But, I mean, they have it all. They have all the unbalanced sets, the tackles over, the ends over, you know, from empty and shift back. I mean, they have it all and stuff. So I think the main thing you have to do is you have to be lined up right, which is the first thing you have to do against the option against Georgia Southern, too. But then, you know, secondly, you still have to be aggressive. I mean, you can't just sit there, you know, and worry, you know. So we got to make sure that we're really confident in the way we're aligning versus all the stuff. So, you know, we're still able to be somewhat aggressive, too, and, you know, because you got to try to go after them. And I think that's the main challenge when you play, you know, against somebody like this that does so many different things. And I said, I give Coach Chadwell a lot of credit. They do a lot of things, and they do them well. I mean, they execute plays and can really execute at a high level what they're doing. So offensively, it's really no different from what we faced last year. The biggest difference is what they're doing on defense. That's the, you know, early in the year. I mean, they beat Kansas 12-7, went to Kansas and held Kansas to 7 points. When you look at what they're doing at times defensively, and that's the biggest difference. They went to an odd front, you know, somewhat what we saw last week, an odd slant in front, and they bring guys and they're going to pressure, and that's different from what they've been, you know, in the past.
Strider continues to be one of the national leaders in a couple different categories. How is his game kind of evolved?
I think he's, you know, I think that the main thing with Corey, when you look at it, number one, he's worked harder. He's worked as hard as anybody out here, no question. I think the second thing that you see with Corey is everybody always knew the talent level that Corey has, but what you see in Corey now is a confident young man, I think. You know, he has confidence in what he's doing. I thought it was unfortunate that, you know, we had to throw him and Bunny out the first year as true freshmen, but they were the best ones we had. But what I saw in Corey is he kept, you know, even when he got beat as a freshman, he would come right back after him. And when you do that, you know, we knew the talent he had, and you know, so I see a very confident young man. Didn't get any thrown at him last week, you know, against Georgia Southern. I mean, he got no balls that were thrown his way, but I see a young man that's playing with a lot of confidence, and I've seen a young man mature and improve the way you would like to see somebody move up in your program. Go back to his true freshman year. and you go back but and I like his attitude, and I don't coach defense, but I kept telling he and Bunny when I would see him after the game or I'd see him in the hall, hey man, they get beat on Sundays. I see him get beat all the time on Sundays. You got to have that pitcher's mentality. They may hit it out of the park, throw it in there again. Go after them. Don't back up. Don't back away. Keep going after it. And and I think they did. And not because I said it, but I think they did. And Corey did, and he just kept battling after it. But I see a young man now that's playing with a lot of confidence, and I see a young man now too that's also has enough confidence to where he's really, I think, done a lot to help Josh Newton, and stuff. And if you come watch us, I know Adam comes to a lot, but probably if you come watch us practice, probably tomorrow night, I mean, he'll be out there. He and Josh will be out there after practice. He'll be out helping Josh, and they'll be working on their technique and stuff. So, I'm really happy for Corey, and certainly helped us this year.